Welcome to the fifth video for IFS, or Internal Family System Theory. And in this video, we're going to focus on this, meaning burdens, and the questions: why are burdens so central to the IFS theory, and what are the types of burdens that exist? Now, to get to the first question of why burdens are so central to the IFS theory, we have to look at one perspective, which is that according to the internal family system perspective, parts create problems because of burdens. That means parts don't create problems just because. Parts don't create problems because it is their nature to create problems, but when a part is burdened, it is not in its natural and healthy state, meaning parts that are burdened don't have access to their natural healthy qualities that they should have access to, or when they have access to them, help the system. And because of that, they will create problems. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper with the definition of burden. In IFS, burdens are extreme beliefs, feelings, or somatic states that developed from undigestible events in our life or body. And basically there are two types of burdens. There are those burdens that basically mean holding on to the pain or the undigestible elements of the past. These are usually the burdens that exiles carry, meaning something happened in the past, I couldn't digest it, the feelings, emotions, beliefs are still there. Those are the burdens of exiles. But there is a second really important type of burden, which can mean the extreme beliefs, feelings, somatic states, or behaviors that come from dealing with the pain. Protectors. So this is a key perspective here, is that in the internal family system, not just the exiles are burdened, protectors are equally burdened. So basically, the burdens in IFS are both the pain carried from past events by exiles, visually represented by the Band-Aid, but also the roles protectors have to play and the beliefs and feelings and behaviors that go along to them, belonging to these roles, are considered burdens. Because protectors try to protect from the burden, the pain held by the exile, they have to do certain behaviors. They are stuck in those roles. So the role itself is a burden, because through this role, the protector doesn't have access to the healthy qualities it would usually have access to. So if we go back to this example of our systems being organized around exiles, the exile might have a burden, a Band-Aid here, that is the feeling and the beliefs that he or she or it is unlovable. So that's the burden the exile carries. It's the feeling and belief itself, I am unlovable. But then, because of this belief and the amount of pain going along whenever this exile floods the system with those beliefs and feelings, these protectors think, or these protectors have to be in a specific protective role, working really hard to be acceptable. And for this protector, this role it has to play, in this case also a managerial role, is a burden. It is burdened through the extreme behavior it has to show. Same for the firefighter here. This role, the zoning out, avoiding feeling, etc., is the burden that that part is carrying. And what is really important around all of this is, in none of those cases is the part the same as the burden, but actually the part is carrying the burden. The part is carrying the pain from the past or the role. And in all these cases, the part would have other healthy qualities that could show up if it was not for the burden. And one last element I want to bring into this video, just as a distinction, is that IFS, or the internal family system, recognizes two different types of burdens, so-called personal burdens everything we've talked about so far are personal burdens. Not getting the love the part would have needed meant that there was an undigestible pain, and the exile is still carrying them. So the exile burden is a personal burden coming from the past. And then the protectors dealing with that, taking on those protective roles, are also personal burdens, meaning personal protective strategies that these parts have developed to deal with that situation. But there's also a second type of burden, which is the so-called legacy burdens. Now, legacy burdens do not always go back to a specific situation, a specific challenge in our life, but they can be taken on from our family, culture, or ancestors. This means that there can be specific undigested events from the past. So a feeling of being unlovable and a belief of being unlovable that can have been in the family for generations. And that feeling has basically been passed down because it is so strong in the field that I am worthless, I am unlovable, that basically one generation hands it to the next, and we can carry that burden of being unlovable because it has been passed down in the family. The same can be for specific protector strategies. There can be a perfectionism that is a defense, a protector's role, and this perfectionism can basically be passed down because it is so strong in one generation that the next generation has to develop the perfectionism to protect themselves, and then the next generation again has to develop perfectionism to protect themselves. So also protective strategies can be passed down by generations. And two ways to look at this legacy element is that basically these burdens are then passed down almost through osmosis. These feelings, these perspectives are so normal, so all-encompassing that they just get passed on. They just become part. This would be more the introjection perspective in other psychotherapies, that it's just coming into the system. Another element can also be imitation, that parts will try to imitate the environment to learn how to survive in this environment, and they will start to imitate certain protective behaviors, but all the way to certain burdens, because it seems like this is part of what being normal means. So this is just an important distinction to keep in the back of the head. Burdens can be both personal and legacy burdens. That is it for this video. I hope this is helpful. If this video is helpful, please feel free to share it with others, pass it on, and I'll see you in the next video where we will dive into self.
You never know what's around the next corner. So.